Hey, good evening and welcome to tonight's show. Tonight, you're going to get the chance to hear from the one and only Thomas Heath. Thomas, good evening, my friend.
Good evening, John. How are you, my friend?
I am doing well, doing well. I'm excited to have you on. We haven't connected in quite a while, so this will be a fun night to kind of go through like I've been doing and tell your story a little bit and share some knowledge and share some tips and such, and then to kind of find out, what's the world of Thomas looking like today. So
Perfect.
hopefully, you don't mind if we pry into all those little personal details that
Dig away.
So Thomas, let's start right away at the top. For those who have never had a chance to meet you, kind of give us a where you work today, what type of events you do, and what your business looks like in a quick little elevator speech, and then we're going to go back and kind of fill in our story tonight.
Sounds good. Thomas Heath. I work in northern Michigan, not upper Michigan, northern Michigan. I live in a resort. A resort. There's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah, Mitch Taylor's is one of those up north people. It like northern Wisconsin for him, but I live in a destination wedding market, and what that means is most of the people that live here don't live here all year long.
Okay.
So we have a lot of people that come up here for events, for weddings. They come up here for the summer, and there's just it's the one percenters live here, kind of a thing. But they only live here 3 months out of the year, and then they board up their houses and leave. So it's kind of a ghost town right now. Sure. But those things are changing for sure. I got it. Weird notifications are popping up now.
Yeah. It's all of a sudden you're getting really busy.
Now people want to talk to me now. About their weddings, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
So we book a lot of destination weddings, and we've actually really kind of guided. That's the way our business has been guided, is moving towards people who need more help than maybe a local wedding couple would. Sure. We still do local weddings, but 90% of our weddings are destination weddings. So that's in a nutshell. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, and we're going to dig into this a little bit more as we come back to it, because there's some interesting things that for those of us who live in the northern states that we'll dig into a little bit later. So let's start right at the beginning, Thomas. I want to one of the things I like to find out from folks is who was that person that inspired your love of music early on, or that love of performing early on. Who was that person for you?
So that person for me was my mom. My mom was huge into music, just absolutely loved music, everything about it. She played violin when she was a kid, and that kind of inspired me to take that up as well.
Yes.
So I played violin from elementary school all the way through graduating high school, and that really opened up a lot of doors because the orchestra room and the band room were the same, and the band kids and the orchestra kids weren't necessarily the same type of kids. So I gravitated, and being a boy playing violin was weird or out of the ordinary at that time. Sure. This was a while ago, and so that kind of lent itself to opening up doors of communication with the kids in band. Like why would why do you do that? And then just playing different music with the violin than what they're used to hearing, and that kind of a thing. That's where my music love started, really. So
when you obviously the as you mentioned, the different types of music that you're playing with a violin compared to what the band, if they're doing a pep band type of a situation. But when your mom was kind of introducing you to the musical side, what kind of things was she listening to, playing, and things that really kind of touched your soul at that time? Was it more that kind of a classical feel, or was it something different?
It really wasn't. My mom played guitar, and she played a lot of things like Fleetwood Mac and Janis Joplin and that kind of stuff. So I got a lot of that too. Those were the records that were playing, Led Zeppelin and Bob Seger, and the classic rock, some folk rock, that kind of stuff. That is what I heard more than like classical music that you would typically think a violin would be playing.
Sure.
So that really, so when I was playing violin in the band, so uh, I could never read music. Period.
Interesting.
I played by ear from elementary school all the way through graduation and did very well that way. I was always the second chair in every orchestra that I was in, only because, and this is one of my senior year, I said, so I gotta know, why'd you put me second chair? I can't even read music.
Yep.
He said, because you're loud and you're right. It's like, okay, that's it. That was it. You're loud and you're right. So maybe that's why I do what I do now, because I'm loud and I'm right.
You're right.
Don't ask my wife, though.
I was going to say, yeah, she'll maybe agree with part of that, but maybe not. Yeah.
100%.
We can talk when we're all by ourselves. That's great.
No recordings of that.
So during those high school years, you were obviously playing the violin. Did you ever dabble with other instruments, or were you really focused in the one?
Guitar.
Okay.
I mean, they were around the house. So
Sure.
there was a Gretsch Electromatic that I absolutely adored.
Mm-hmm.
And just this huge jumbo body, Bob Dylan type thing. It had the pickups and had the whammy bar on, and I absolutely adored that guitar. So that was what I was doing when I wasn't practicing for violin or doing homework or any of the other extracurricular activities that I was partaking in during high school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when did you get the idea for the DJ part? When did that start to kind of come onto your radar? Because I remember from past conversations, you continued and you were playing the violin beyond high school.
A little bit, yeah. So I played for about a year and a half, 2 years after I graduated, and then that was it. I just stopped, just stopped cold because I joined the Navy. So I went and did that, and married, kids, life, jobs, all that stuff. So I literally stopped playing violin for about probably about a decade.
Sure.
Probably about 10 years. I didn't play it at all. And I started playing it again because of my DJ business. We had a couple who was having their wedding, and they asked if we knew anybody that played violin. And my wife at the time, she said, yeah, my husband does. Your DJ does.
Yep.
And what? And yeah, so
10 years ago,
yeah, it's like, okay, I know how to do it, but I have not done this thing, and this is their wedding. What am I supposed to play? Play whatever you want. Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
So there's this one song that you might have heard of. It's called Canon in D. You might have heard of it.
Yep.
You've done a wedding ever.
Yeah.
You've heard the song. That song was one song that I had memorized.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because we played it almost at least every other year for whatever concert, probably every year for one concert or another when I was growing up.
Sure.
So I actually Googled the sheet music for it. Okay. And because I knew
the guy who doesn't read music.
Right. I Googled the sheet music for it because I knew what the first note was, and I knew where it was on my violin.
Okay.
So I correlated that with the sheet music, and I can now sight read music.
Oh.
So I've taught myself how to read music because of that one thing, because of that one throwing it into the fire kind of thing. It's like, you can do it. Now you have to do it.
There's no option. You've been volunteered by.
Voluntold. I'm sorry. Voluntold.
I like
Yes.
that. It's accurate, unfortunately. Yeah. So then prior to that, then there was the transition. You were in it with the military, and then you came, and then somehow you ended up finding this profession called DJing. What opened that door? What started that part of your life?
I was working in a factory, and I was working the night shift, and I was in a supervisory position, so I could roam through the factory and check on other stuff. And I was going through the tool room in this factory, and guy that was working in there, Jack, he was playing music that I recognized. We were the same age, and I'd say, "Oh, hey, I love that," and I was going through, or I'd stop and listen to him, talk a little bit.
Sure.
And eventually he starts playing songs that he doesn't think I know. But I know them. Not all of them, of course. And he eventually just says, "Hey, you should come with me on Saturday. I'm DJing a wedding." I'm like, "That's ridiculous. I'm in." So I went. By the end of that night, I actually had been on the microphone. Somebody's wedding that they paid for these other people to do. I was on the microphone, and I was mixing music. That was it. I was hooked.
Oh my gosh.
That was it.
Like,
I went home, told my wife, "I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to be a DJ."
So there was like no practice, no prep, no just, what are you doing Saturday night? Let's go.
I'm loud.
Yeah.
And I'm light.
And there you are. Here's a microphone. So what gave you the confidence to talk on a microphone? Had you had public speaking experience before, or times on a microphone?
Other than being a supervisor and performing on stage in front of people, as far as, in orchestra and stuff like that, not really. Not really. It's just, it when you know.
Yeah.
And I just had, it wasn't, I was not, of course I had the butterflies. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to say? Just, just say this. I'm like, okay, said it. And he said, "Yeah, you need to start doing this with us."
So you went back, "Honey, we're going to buy some gear. This is awesome. I love it. Whatever." Did you end up then going out on your own, or did you work under his banner for a while?
So it's kind of goes back to, so my mom, I borrowed the money from my mother to start my DJ career. Bought a laptop and speakers and lights and, all the things that they told me to buy. So I bought all these things, and they sat in my house because they failed to mention that it takes a long time to book things. People book things a little bit further out than next week.
Sure.
So my wife, God bless her, she, well, I can't wait for that DJ money to start rolling in. So the company didn't have a website. Again, it was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I made one. I made one on Angel Fire, I think the free website, web server, or whatever it was.
That's been a few minutes ago. Yeah.
Made one on there, and leads started coming in.
Oh, wow.
And they said, "You know what, cool. Every lead that comes in from the website, you can have." Perfect. Until I was more booked than them. And then it just kind of went into this point where it's like, "Okay, we're going to come with you, and we'll split the money with you." I said, "Well, that wasn't the deal. That wasn't the deal." So we parted ways at that point, and that's when A Plus Digital DJs was born.
Nice. So you're now on your own. You've got some experience, but how much time kind of goes from when you were on your own to the point where you started to look at honing your craft, whether through training or for additional things such as that, resources?
So, all right. So again, the over 10 years thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny joke because it's well over 10
I
years.
was going to say, I wasn't going to go and call you
Well
out
over
on that
10
one, but
years.
yeah, it's been, I've known you for over 10
Yeah,
years.
it's well over 10 years.
Yeah.
So my first DJ, the first wedding that I DJ'd on my own in as my company was 1999. So a lot of things happened between 1999 and 2012. It was part-time, part-time, part-time. It was part-time that whole time. It was
Hmm.
part-time that whole time because I had a job.
Yeah.
2008, I was walked out to my van with a box of my stuff, and I didn't have a job anymore.
Yes.
So went to college, got a degree, and still DJing part-time. And 2012, my first wife passed away. And it was at that moment that I said, and I still had my son was still in high school. So I said, DJing is going to be my full-time job, at least until he graduates.
Sure.
So I had more time with him.
Yep. That flexible schedule. Yeah.
And I helped, I was the coach of his robotics team, and I spent much time as I could with him through this time because damn.
Yeah.
And he graduated. We moved away from that town a month later because he was sick of how are you doing? So again, this is
Yep.
pretty deep stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we moved away and I never got a job because I didn't need to.
Hmm.
Because the part-time job that became the full-time job, I realized I was making more at the full-time job than I was making at a full-time job.
Right.
And I still had the flexibility to do whatever. And I was in charge of it. And so that was where the full-time job part came in.
Hmm.
Fast forward to 2016, I got this email about this wedding MBA thing. So I bought a ticket for me and I bought a ticket for one of my DJs. We flew out. I met a bunch of people. I just met a bunch of people that I had been watching on DJNTV.
Hmm.
I met a bunch of people that I'd heard of. And that was it. I got hooked on education
Sure.
at that point. A young man named Dave Tournier. I had dinner with him, and he told me about this Mark Farrell guy.
Yes.
That was it. That was it.
So prior to that 2016 timeframe, what were you doing to kind of hone your skills, or was it just basically your experience just increasing and building from that aspect of it, from that, those times when you were part-time to the point of going full-time?
Training DJs.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
Training DJs makes you better.
It does. Yep.
By leaps and bounds, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what your quirks are. And you also know what makes what you do better. Not, being loud and being right. If you know what's going on, you're going to be right. And if you're not right, be loud about it. And just training people how to get out of their own way and to not take, everything personally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the right term for that, but it's to not take everything internally as, oh no, I can't fix this. It's nobody could fix that. Nobody could fix that issue. All you can do is either swerve away from it or focus on it and make it loud and right. So
yeah,
training DJs.
Yeah, there's definitely been a huge benefit for your process there. Looking back at that at those times, because I've had a somewhat similar in some ways from that early multi-op experience, and then moving to the point now where it's just my son and myself pretty much. What you've learned from 2016 to more recent times. Some of that information, if you would have had that back in those years in the early 2000s, Where do you think that would? How do you think that would have changed what you did then?
So we learn from we learn from our mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
We've been told that our whole life. But there are a bunch of things that I wish I would have done when I had had the chance to do them, but I didn't because it was part-time.
Yep.
And at that point every investment had to have an ROI that was near immediate.
Yes. I know what you mean.
And training wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Training wasn't that. Going to conferences wasn't that thing. Going to conventions wasn't that thing. Paying for the disc jockey radio wasn't a thing. It wasn't possible at that time for me, but I wish it were.
Yeah.
And some of the only things that I wish I could have done earlier were networking with other DJs that weren't in my market.
Yes.
That's probably one of the biggest things. Back then it was message boards. It wasn't Facebook. We didn't have Facebook live videos.
Yeah.
We had DJNTV, but we didn't have DJNTV.
Yeah, exactly. We weren't to that point. And I can definitely echo that statement of one of the biggest things that I've taken away that I wish I would have had back then was that networking, that engagement, having that group of friends from across the world, literally, that you can observe, learn from, sit down with, share, ask questions, what have you. And I'm not taking anything away from what I've learned from Mark in his workshops or any of the workshops that I've done over the years. It's just that if we're going to boil it down to what I think was the most valuable, it was the same thing you're talking about, is that wider net of DJ that we can do life with, really.
Yeah, and we all have the same stories.
Yeah.
The players are different, but the stories are the same.
Mm-hmm.
We've all had the crazy thing that's happened at this wedding. You're never going to believe, oh, I had that happen back in 2020 and then it went into this. And so it's really being able to have those conversations with people that are living the same experience that you are.
Yes.
You get to learn so much from that.
Oh, exactly. Because how you and I could have the same experience with obviously different people, and how you handle it and I handle it, we probably both handled it weird. But as we're talking about it, we'll be like, if we take part of what you did and part of what I did, holy cats. And that's kind of a very, very simplistic, but that's how the magic happens when we get to sit down with people and have those conversations. So.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. No, how that is. We got a few folks in there. Mikey Mike, thank you for being with us. And Bob Powell, thanks for being
Bob Powell!
Bob, and Day and Night with us. A few people have commented there, so thank you guys for being with tonight. I want to throw a shout out there because I've got Bob's shirt down there. Right
there it is.
There it is, back there, hidden somewhere.
Bob Powell.
Yeah. So. Okay, so you've gone there in 2016. You went to Wedding MBA. You've been to a variety of different training experiences since then. What area of your business? First, we'll talk about what area of your business has really improved, and then I want to come back then in the performance side of it, and then in the personal side. So we're going to have three different areas that we're going to talk about where your training over the last number of years has improved. Let's start with the business. Where do you feel that your business side has increased the most from your training?
So it's tied to performance.
Sure.
Because it's changing the perception of what we do. Because of the particular trainings that I have taken, I've set my business apart from most of the people especially in my community, and local DJs, etc. Even in my state, there are very few DJs who have taken any of the training that I have.
Sure.
In this state, it's a travesty, but it's all mine.
Yeah, precisely.
And so that has helped to create word of mouth and vendor referrals. Vendor referrals are just giant because of it.
Certainly.
And it just because, the vendors, they will tell me that other DJs don't do this, 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 and this when we do.
Yeah.
And it's not just me doing it, it's the people that work for me that are doing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they've also taken the training as well. And I trained them. So I can't clone me, but I try to get close.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another thing is knowing that there's a lot more opportunities out there and to think bigger. That was what Wedding MBA did for me, is it made me think, it realized that thinking bigger, but growing deep and not wide. It's growing the right way versus getting 35 DJs and then throwing them all out there and 10 of them are terrible.
Sure.
It's just, and setting expectations for those DJs too. It just helps with referrals, and I don't advertise much because I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary,
Yeah,
really, for what we do, where we do it, because people are going to be asking, because again, they're destination weddings. They're going to be asking the people they trust, the venue, who to hire, or the planners or whatever.
Yeah, you bet. So on the performance side, you kind of you brushed it a little bit in that, but taking Thomas Heath's performance in early 2000 to Thomas Heath's performances in the early 2020s type of a situation, what areas has seen in the most growth in just the performance side of it for you?
Okay. The most growth is as an MC.
Yes.
Easily as an MC. And excuse me.
Does that mean you're even louder and righter?
I'm even more loud and more right.
See, I knew it. Yeah.
I'm more loud and more right.
It's a beautiful
I'm drinking
thing.
coffee. Hold on.
So, master of ceremony.
So being a master of ceremonies, and it's being able to connect with people. And it's not just being able to connect with the people who hire you, it's to be able to connect with the people that they feel are so special that they have to have them at this place with them, celebrating whatever they're celebrating, whether it's a wedding, a funeral, birthday, mitzvah, corporate event, whatever. It's being able to show and also to show those people that you're not just a DJ with a microphone.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yelling, and who's just yelling stuff into it.
Yeah.
It's showing that you actually care, or seem to care, about what's going on with the people that have hired you to take care of this, to be the face and the voice of their event.
Mm-hmm. So what parts or what kind of training then helped you to build that skill that really kind of stood out?
So much training.
Drop some names, come on.
So
for someone who's like, I want to become a better MC, this is the part for them.
Bronze MC Marbecca. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
It is the baseline of everything that I do as an MC and as a DJ. You don't learn any DJ stuff from Mark during that workshop. But it correlates to how you mix, what music you pick, how you plan with your couples, it's not about what you do, it's how you do it. And that is, coming from a place of love. That's Mark Becca's entire thing, and just being able to love the people that hire you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And in one way, shape, or form. So that Marbecca Bronze MC, that's probably, if anybody asked me what should I do first, that is literally first.
Mm-hmm.
Easily first.
Because it really, for so many of us, has been that life-changing moment where you're in there and getting a little uncomfortable, doing things you hadn't done before or hadn't thought of before, and now you're putting it all together and getting some constructive feedback to become better from wherever you were to wherever you can grow to. Which
Accurate.
I think is such a fabulous way that Mark does that. Because if I come in here, he's going to help me get here. If I come in here, he will take you from where you are to the next point. So
100%. And I've met some of my best friends in that first Marbecca workshop. And it's not just, he's not going to give you, this is what you have to say. Mm-hmm. It's going to work every time. It's so much different than that. And it's a place to be, you have to be vulnerable to go there. If you're not scared, you're doing it wrong. And if you're not listening, you're not paying attention, you're not going to get anything out of it.
Precisely.
And he'll call you on it, too. He'll let you know. Mm-hmm. So, that was awful. Try it.
Yeah, if you go in with a chip on the shoulder, like it all, when you get... You don't have your heart in the right spot to really take advantage of that, for 100%. Sure. On other spots that have helped you, or other aspects that have helped you become a better MC?
The entertainment experience, I took that as well. That was a great, great experience. Yeah. It was very eye-opening, sure. And it makes you think about what we do differently than an MC, and definitely differently than a DJ. It's a lot more focused on making you think about what we do as a stage performance and as an entertainer. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot more, it's a lot broader, but there's not a lot of workshopping, not as much workshopping as like a Marbecca workshop.
Yeah,
it's really. It's a very good thing to do. I did Randy Bartlett's thing, but he's retired, I think.
Yeah. Randy had a variety of different things that he did over the years. Yeah, and we think he's retired, but every once in a while, he still comes back and
he'll show up. Yeah. He's like a bad penny.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, hey, I remember that guy.
What is this here? Oh my God! I thought we got rid of this thing. Yeah. But that, and again, it's the DJ conventions. Yeah, Midwest DJs Live is one of my favorites. Harvest of Sound. If you haven't been to Harvest of Sound yet, you have to go. Have to go. It is a celebration of being a DJ in the truest sense of the word. And it's not just being a DJ, wiki, celebration of that. It's celebration of what all of us do.
Sure.
Every aspect of what we do. I presented there a couple of years ago and met some great people. And yeah, that is a great conference.
Yeah.
That is a great conference as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's jump to the final area of that, and I want to talk more of the personal side, your mental, physical growth and things. What are you doing to take care of that side of your life?
So, I used to weigh a lot. My 40th birthday, and this is going back over 10 years. During my 40th birthday party, somebody took a picture of me, and I said, "Who is that?" Mm-hmm. And I realized I weighed 284 pounds as a guy who was 5'9". That's a lot. That's a lot on this frame. Hence why I have to have my knee replaced. Moving on. So lost a bunch of weight, and just kind of going up and down on that. This year I said I have to get my knee replaced, so I have to get to a certain weight, which was 200 pounds. So talked to my doctor, and Zepbound, and it's one of those things. It might be a cheat code to somebody, but I'm gonna tell you it worked, and it's still working. Working out every day, at least 30 minutes, more often than not an hour, with a bad knee. Eating right, watching your calories, watching your macros. Those are all, that's my health journey. And it's hard to do if you don't have anybody that, or if you don't have a partner who's very supportive.
Yep.
I do, which is a huge boon for me.
Very much so.
My wife Shannon she has been the most supportive person in my life, including my parents, with everything. It's like, okay. When I said, I'm going to Marbecca workshop in 2 weeks because a spot opened up, my first workshop.
Yeah.
She said, okay. That was it. She didn't even ask. She, okay. It was, and if you think it's worth it, and by gosh, it sure was. So having somebody that supports you. And if you don't have somebody that supports you, call me. I'll support you. I'll support you. This community will support you. John will support you. John supports all of us. John Young, you don't get enough flowers. Since we're here, you don't get enough flowers for all of the crap that you have done for us. DJs don't deserve you. We just don't.
Well, I appreciate that, but we get to you hear the stories of the lives you change, or the lives you've helped to be part of their process. That makes it all worthwhile, right there. Just those little victories that you can help to be part of. That's why we do what we do. That's for sure. You mentioned, of course, on your health journey, the working outside of it. And I think I literally had 3 different conversations today with people at my, where I work during the day now, as I've evolved in my career, talking about how difficult it is to commit to that time. Kind of talk a little bit about that. How have you been able to work into a very busy schedule and a busy life of running a business and being, a husband and all the different parts of, what our lives are like?
So we look at it like it's a meeting. It's a scheduled meeting. It has to happen. And it has to happen every day. That's scheduled. Yep. I mean, I don't work out 7 days a week. I'm not a crazy person, but I did work out for 100 days in a row.
Woohoo!
Not fun. My body said, "Why are you doing this?" Day 89, I was miserable, but
it took 89 days to get miserable. I would think it would have happened.
No, it was rough the whole time.
Yeah,
but day 89, I remember I said, "I think I'm done. But no, I soldiered on. It's got to be scheduled. You have to think of it as a scheduled meeting that is non-negotiable.
Yeah,
it has to be a thing, and you have to have a plan. There has to be an active plan, or else it's not going to work for you. Why no? Can you hear that?
Yeah, we can hear a little ding in the background.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm ruining DJNTV.
No, you're doing fine. We're doing fine. We're just kind of keep going through. People will be like, "Is there an elevator behind me somewhere?"
Why is this happening?
Yeah. If we don't make it, they'll be like thinking it's their phone or something. So we'll keep going.
Right. Pretend it's not us. Rewind. Yeah, we'll edit that. Yeah, we'll take that out in post. And having a workout program is very crucial for this. And I use a program called Beachbody Online, and that's where P90X. That's where Tony Horton, the P90X guy, did his stuff. Had all of his things. Insanity. That's another one of the workout programs that is out there. But there's a program for everybody on that website, and it's a monthly fee, and you literally just log in and whatever program you want to do, you hit the play and you just do it.
Sure.
You just press play, and it's there, and this is what you do on day 1. This is what you do on day 2. This is what you do on day 3. And they're interactive, and there's biking, and there's running, and there's just that runs the gamut from weightlifting to cardio to yoga to kickboxing and everything in between. So that's been we've been doing that since 2014. Almost, yeah, about 10 years. We've been actually over 10 years.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for that long, and it's a non-negotiable for us. It's a
Nice.
bill that will be paid every month or every year, regardless of where we are. So, because it keeps us on track.
Oh, for sure. And it's such
And
a
again, having somebody there in your house that will remind you it's time to work out. And that's Google Home, by the way, because it's scheduled in my Google Home to say
and
it's time to work out now.
and it's time to go. Let's get it.
Yeah,
Let's get it going.
let's go.
So you've with the working out in different things, goals are hugely important in all aspects of business and such. But I want you to talk about you mentioned, of course, dropping weight was an important goal, but kind of how does that goal of, because just losing weight, you're going to hit that. You obviously have to have other goals that are keeping you motivated to be there every day. Share that goal and your desire for that one.
So the why. I mean, I think that's really
Where I'm
it.
heading,
And
yes,
a
yep.
big part of my why when I first started working out was to be here for my kids as long as possible. And that, of course, was, predicated on their mom passing away. And it was a big part of it was because of poor health decisions. Things like smoking and high blood pressure that was unchecked, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these things, and now they don't have her. So I wanted to make sure that I was going to be here as long as I could for them.
Certainly.
That was my first one. The second one is, and it's vanity. To be honest, it's I want to look good while I'm doing what I'm doing.
Certainly.
Because I'm standing out in front of a bunch of people. We're on stage. We're on stage. If Justin Timberlake was overweight, would he be as popular as he is? It's hard to say. It's hard. He's very talented, but would he be as easy to market? Probably not.
Yes.
Maybe now, but not when he started. Again, times over 10 years, all that stuff. So, and I'm not getting younger. When you hit that 5-something mark, it's a big deal. And it's to be able to still be able to do this beyond, that.
Yeah.
And to still be able to do it well without having to worry about, can I pick up this Evolve 70? Mike, where's my Evolve 70? To be more all that stuff, to be able to pick these things up and carry them and load them in, load them out, put them in the truck, put them out of all of that stuff that we do. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's easier every day because things are lighter than they were over 10 years ago. But it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. We have a joke in our building that everybody wants to be a DJ until they got to load speakers.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be a DJ until they got to move stuff.
They have to.
And it was like, this isn't as fun as I thought. So being able to do it, being able to continue to do it at a relatively high level, and just to be able to live life after it. We camp. We have 3 pit bulls that need to be walked every single day.
Yeah.
It's hard to do if you're not in at least some kind of a shape. And not usually, or not working out on the regular and staying in shape and staying fit. So those are my whys, to be around as long as I can and to still be able to do this.
Sure. Yeah, definitely that the overarching of that, the quality of life is really huge and such. And I think for a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of folks grasp that. You mentioned that once you hit the big 5-0 and we go beyond that, is that you can still have a high quality of life and you can still have a lot to enjoy and such. But Now we have to work at it.
It's not as easy.
It's not as
we
easy.
don't bounce.
Exactly. We don't bounce.
We don't bounce.
So we got a couple of minutes left here, Thomas, and I wanted to we're going to jump right back now to the type of events and such. You mentioned you're kind of a destination. Wedding is really kind of the focus and the bread and the butter of the company. You said that's a 3-month thing where you've got a lot of people. How are you filling or how do you keep that calendar full? Because we're in the upper Midwest. Our wedding season basically goes from like May 1st to, mid-October. So we have a very, 5 months, roughly 5.5 months of possible wedding season. Yes, there could be one here or there. How are you keeping that schedule and keeping staff busy or occupied, for lack of a better way to describe it, in that full calendar year?
So off season, this is what we're sitting in right now, is that's off season for training and reboot. Normally I'm going to conferences during this time. Midwest DJs Live is at the end of April, and Harvest of Sound is in December, and I think there's some other conferences that are in February and stuff like that. But typically I go to those things, or I'm going to a workshop, or I'm working with my team. We do every 2 weeks, we try to get together and go through some mixing or go through, gear. We just had, I had one of my DJs with me about 2 weeks ago, and we were just going through gear. My DJs all have other jobs. So for them, it's part-time with A+. So, it's getting around their schedules too. So we do trivia and music bingo once or twice a week.
Sure.
Just kind of, and it helps to keep the chops up.
Yep.
It helps to keep you comfortable on the microphone. And then, of course, like you said, random wedding here, random corporate event here, school dances here, this, that, and the other. That's how we keep sharp.
Yeah. And I think that's important. One of the aspects of, and again, another area overlooked, is that need of practice. Even though we've been doing this for 10 plus years, I wanted to steal, that.
Thanks. I love that.
Yeah, 10 plus years. But the practice is something that we need. And yes, if I'm out performing 3 nights a week, I'm probably getting my practice in the repetition of the performance, but I don't do that anymore. So on the other side of this wall is a setup there. So a person can go and practice and do some things.
100%.
Yeah, and have some fun with that. Thomas, goodness gracious, our time is up. Holy cats.
Sweet, fancy Moses.
Yeah, it went very quickly. Thomas, if somebody would like to reach out and talk and maybe they need a little encouragement, they may have some questions about your path, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, I'm pretty easy to find. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, all that stuff. You can check out, A+ Entertains. It's, I'm easy to find.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys can do a couple of searches. If you're on Facebook, Thomas Heath, he pops right up. And you can recognize him because he's the guy in the picture. There it is. Thomas, thank you much for being on and sharing your story tonight. It was a good time and a lot of fun to kind of go through and walk through everything once again.
Well, thank you, John. Thanks for having me. Again, it's always an honor to hang out with you, and thank you for everything you do, and thanks for your time.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with our Tuesday night with Ben Stowe. And of course, tonight's show is brought to you by DJEventPlanner.com, which the link is in the description of this video. You guys can go check that out as a system that'll help you communicate with your couples when you're using that website as one of your main marketing tools. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Good night.